trades for an entire year. Schwab Trading Services. Own your tomorrow.
So just how dark is the dark side of the Internet of Things?
It's security breaches have reached an epidemic level, and there needs to be a different approach to solving this problem, because time and time again we're seeing thieves and snoops exploit gaps in these networks and systems, and it's going to continue to happen, whether it's Ashley Madison or Jeep Chrysler.
Wired magazine, which published the Jeep hacking story and pursued it, is getting some flack for what people are calling stunt storytelling. But consumers don't really seem fazed when their data gets attacked by anyone else. I mean, do you think that we've gotten to a point where we need stunt storytelling to actually show the consumer just how dangerous some of these things are?
Look, I believe that anything that brings visibility to this security breach and cyber attack issue is goodness. And whether it's CEOs of major companies or our federal government, we need to pay attention to this problem and approach it differently.
Miller, is there any good reason that you can see why these cars should be engineered in such a way that someone from a remote location sort of dialing into the car should be able to even do things like shut down the transmission? I mean, I can see why they could have read-only access to do some diagnosis, understand what's going on with the car, but it seems like a fundamental security flaw to even be able to do this, isn't it?
Well, as far as the computer systems that control cars, I'm probably not in a position to comment on that. What we do know about this particular breach, though, is that the system of the car was accessed by a white hacker. And that access is the problem that really needs to be solved, and there are a couple ways to do that, and that's the problem that I think should be focused on.
In an increasingly interconnected world where we talk often about the Internet of Things, and we've only just begun, really, what is the change that you then believe needs to take place in order to actually perhaps make people safer?
Sure. So it's interesting you bring up the Internet of Things. We're releasing some predictions on the next wave of huge vulnerabilities from a breach perspective. And, the smartwatch and wearable devices are a category that really does trouble me. It goes beyond Fitband and FuelBand. I think about internal devices like pacemakers or external devices like insulin pumps. All of those devices are network devices that stream critical and life-sensitive saving information to the cloud. And that information is being streamed without being protected. And that's really scary.
Somebody could actually, I'm going to stop your pacemaker unless you pay me $10,000 or $100,000. Is that a real possibility?
It is. Today, that possibility exists. Absolutely.
How do you come to your predictions? You also say there's a possibility of an electoral campaign being breached or potentially IP involving the release of a new technology product.
Yeah, so, Kayla, we have 30,000 customers, 200 federal agencies that we work with. I spend my days in this dialogue with CEOs and CISOs and federal agency heads talking about what they see their security concerns and vulnerabilities actually are. So I'm communicating things that firsthand accurate information I get from the people in charge of these systems and networks.
John's got another one. John?
Miller, that gets to what you just said about wearable technology and pacemakers, gets to the heart of what I was trying to get at with the car. I mean, do there have to be, I hate to say regulations, but at least widely understood protocols that there are certain types of devices that you just don't get remote access to determine what they do next? Being able to read them and understand what they're doing, sure, that needs to be protected. That's one thing. But being actually able to remotely control something, I mean, that could be dangerous, could it not?
Oh, life-threatening, John, and you're spot on. I don't think this problem is going to be solved in the public sector through regulation. I really don't. I think this is a problem that's worldwide and has to be solved in the private sector without getting too deep on the specific technology involved. But two things really have to happen. Multi-factor authentication to allow only one person to access these systems is critical. And then once the systems are accessed, the critical information has to be armored and secured and protected through strong encryption. That's the answer, and our government and other states' governments aren't going to solve this problem through regulation.
New at 5 o'clock, a guilty plea for a New Jersey police officer. The Newton cop was arrested and accused of